So Daryl, you did get a chance to watch Maverick. You liked it as well. So talk a little bit about some of your first impressions.
I mean, right out of the gate, it was just like, yeah. I mean, they played Kenny Loggins.
Yep.
And I was like, man, I just eased back just like that, and I was like, all right, I'm in.
Yep.
Just right off the get go, it's just like so good. And there was a couple of music choices I didn't think fit, but it's just me,
How the Iceman stuff hit you in the feels?
dude. Oh,
Making men
I
cry,
cussed at him.
people. Making men cry.
Mm-hmm. I was like, pardon the expression. I was like, you son of a bitch.
Mm.
It
Yep.
made me
Got
tear up.
me. Di-
But no, they did it really, really well.
have you watched the original anytime recently?
Yeah, last week.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. You watched them both. Uh, I think what I liked best about the sequel is the fact that the mission and stuff was so much more clear and defined and easier to kind of get my head around. Whereas in the first movie, when we rewatched it, we're like, we're still not quite sure why the MiGs are fired. We're still not quite sure exactly what we're doing. It's like there's a rescue mission and we're giving cover, but then suddenly they're firing on people, and it was a little more clunky. I know that wasn't the focus of the film in '86. This one was very, very clear about this is the mission, this is what we're doing. It's a high risk, it's this and that. So I thought that was probably one of the reasons I think the second one is superior to the first one. So
Oh yeah.
you think I'm off base? You think I'm good?
No, I think you're spot on. And I have a theory that the reason the second one worked so much better than the first is the love story aspect was secondary to the mission. It wasn't forefront like the mission, and they were competing for face time.
Mm,
Because
that's
the
so
first
true.
one, the love story is just like, and the mission was, and it's like, okay, what do I look at?
Mm, yeah. Yeah, my wife said the same thing about the love story in the original one. Like it was just way too much, and then the second one, it felt classy. It just felt,
Yeah,
and it makes more sense that the woman's still there at the end, whereas in the original, uh, Kelly LeBrock. Why did I say that? That's not right at all. Kelly McGillis.
that's some weird science
That's
right
the
there.
wrong. That's the wrong hot '80s lady. Uh, Kelly McGillis just shows back up and just does the whole, you know, Righteous Brothers song scene. It's like, why is she back? She just got a job and left. I don't understand. We don't explain that. Just keep moving. So, where are you at on it, Mags? You've had a chance to watch it. I know we talked about it a little bit, but as far as if you had to compare the two films, or what your thoughts about the kind of the legacy of this Maverick thing, because it's getting crazy.
Well, I grew up on watching to me, they were classics. I grew up on, watching the 80s movies, the 90s movies, 70s movies, all that good stuff, and even movies much older. So I've always remembered it being, Top Gun being, a cool action flick and enjoyable. And, of course, it has great music in it. And of course, the aviators and all as a child. But I don't remember it being I'm not necessarily, I wouldn't call it a meme, but it's kind of like one of those things where people, you pop it in, you enjoy it, but it's not like out of this world, like Empire Strikes Back sort of
Mm,
business. I mean, it was the eight. First of all, the 80s had great movies, so it was up against, you know, all these giants that are still cult favorites to this very day, and we can all rewatch them over and over and over again, especially when they were used to be on VHS tapes and we wore those out. um but maybe because I hadn't watched the original Top Gun recently, but maybe as a child I had a different perspective on it, but as an adult watching Top Gun Maverick now, it is, I had tears in my eyes. I felt, I felt uplifted. I felt like, yeah, the heroes are going to get it done. I mean, it just, there's something magical in all of that. And I've said this before, that it's a timeless thing that great
mm,
movies have in terms of resonating at a human level. And this movie certainly did. And I enjoyed myself. I mean, I almost wanted to watch it again. Of course, I didn't have the time to, but it's like it's kind of one of those movies where I'm like, you know what? I always rate a movie, in my opinion, does it have rewatchability? And that has to check a box for me. And especially with this modern era, we need those types of movies, and we're not getting them. And having Top Gun Maverick check that box is a win in my book.
That's true. Very, very true. And yet you're right about the rewatchability sort of factor kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I've always said, a film can really, really be a great film, like in the sense of it can be an Oscar-worthy film, it can be whatever. But to like get into like a legacy standpoint, you've kind of got to want to be able to go back and revisit it multiple times, and then there is a certain element to how it holds up over time, right?
And not only that, but even though I already know the ending. And I kind of knew the ending sort of before I watched it. I still felt like on the edge of my seat with it. So that's a good thing about a movie. Yeah, it's intense. It's high octane. I mean, where have we seen high octane type of movies? Not very often anymore. And I may be a little partial a little bit to the military, having military blood in my family, but it's at the same time, I'm like, yeah, it's the good guys. I feel good. I feel American. I feel like, yeah, we can take on the world again. And where is that? So I could forget the world around me and really immerse myself into the story. And that's a making of a good film. So,
yeah, I would say, I mean, I think the original is rewatchable. I'm not going to try to diss on the original. I'm not as much of a fan of the original, but
I wasn't saying that about the original either.
No. But I'm saying this one, I'm agreeing with you because I think this one elevates to a different level because it just really. So the turning point for me was the scene with the black pilot, and he's kind of like totally stressing and wigging out on us, and it's like I don't even remember this guy's name, and I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, you're doing something right with a script if you've pulled that off.
And not only that, the pilot scenes when they're in the jet planes, I'm just like, holy crap! I mean, because didn't Tom Cruise make it so that the actors and the actresses had to be in the planes themselves, or did I read that wrong somewhere? But I mean, it's totally believable. I mean, the way that they shifted and felt the G-force, holy crap! I felt that with them.
Yeah, I don't know if Daryl know if you know the answer to that. I know they had actual flight training for about 3 weeks, and Tom Cruise did it with them. Now, I don't know exactly when they're in the planes and when they're not, as far as the shots. Massive amounts of practical effects, though, in the air. Like, there was not a lot of CGI for some of those shots. So,
it was really well done.
Awesome One says he grew up on trees.
Oh, by Joyce Kilmer.
Castle's here. Hey, Castle.
Hey, Castle.
And Awesome One says, I rarely rewatch anything. Once I know the plot, it becomes boring, even though it's really, really good. Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's fine. My wife's very similar to that Awesome One. I have to kind of like, I got to really try to keep pressing to rewatch certain ones. But when the original one came out in '86, I mean, I was just kind of ho-hum about it. The girlfriends are the ones that all wanted to see it multiple times, to be honest, for obvious reasons.
I wonder why.
Yeah, but Ferris Bueller came out a few weeks later because I remember that came out it's right before my birthday, so I don't remember exactly when in June. If it's the second or third week, Chris Persia will do it because Chris Persia is amazing. It's like he makes like the Jamie on Joe Rogan look bad because he just knows. But Ferris Bueller came out a couple weeks around that time, and that's where I was like, I'd just rather see Ferris Bueller again. You guys can go see Top Gun again. I'm going to sit through Ferris Bueller 2 or 3 more times. So that was my big movie during that time frame. That was also the era of like Stallone and Schwarzenegger and stuff like that too, and they were like fine. They were good. I'm not going to diss on them or anything like that. I don't really remember exactly what else was out during that time frame. Daryl, do you remember? We're about the same age.
Didn't Temple of Doom come out that year?
86?
Yeah.
Temple of Doom was 84.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Temple of Doom was 84. There was 5 years between Doom and 84. Yeah, Doom. It was 5 years till we had Last Crusade.
Yeah,
I remember 89. Yeah.
'89. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, but Top Gun was in the theater, and it was a big deal for a long time, several weeks. So, but yeah, the Maverick is upwards of 1.2, almost 1.3 million dollars. So we'll see how it goes. So,
Oh, yeah,
And I think
maximum merch,
isn't that
yeah.
his Tom Cruise's first $1 billion movie too? I think I remember hearing that.
Oh yes, it is absolutely. Yeah, we did it last week, or last Pop Talk. We had like a little screenshots because we were celebrating. He crossed $1 billion, and it was Tom Cruise's first $1 billion. So, Chris, I don't know what that means. Which date is that? Is that not sure which date that was for. So,
And to be quite honest, that
climbing
first
trees.
when they first started the movie, just right before the movie started, is when Tom Cruise is in a chair talking to the audience, and he's talking. He's not talking down to them. He's talking to them, talking with them, having a conversation, and being, aside from all the craziness he's done, he understands that relationship between him as an actor, producer, in the entertainment sphere, and the audience, and that's a reciprocal relationship. And when you are being abusive to your audience, it's not a good thing to come about. So that was really impressive to me.
Yeah, again, I think my wife was really impressed by that. There were some. We were in a crowd. There was like some seniors that were in front of us, about 4 or 5 of them, and they kind of were the same reaction too. They really was impressed.